I've been looking into it. I've spoken to supervisors about what's going on with this model, and in part it's because of people being paid for the...
It's quite painful, isn't it, this? Yes, I totally agree with myself. Absolutely painful. Hello there, and I do hope you're all well. Now back to our Helen Whateley and Paul Blomfield, where, as you saw in the previous video, and I'll leave it in the wherever above for you to watch, the topic was adult social care in the select committee meeting, and more importantly in this one, their pay and their travelling time. Now, if you hear the cogs whirring, it's not me reading, it's Helen Whateley trying to think of something quite sensible to a quite straightforward question.
We do know that despite intentions to the contrary, there are domiciliary care workers who still are not paid for travel time, and as a consequence, their overall pay from the start of the working day to the end of their working day is de facto less than the minimum wage. What are you going to do about it?
So clearly, no provider should be paying somebody less than the national living wage.
What can you do to ensure that doesn't happen?
And on the one hand, there are routes for workers believe they're being paid less than the national living wage to try and get that addressed. On the other hand, because I have been looking into it, I've spoken to supervisors about what's going on with this model, and in part it's because of people being paid for the...
It's quite painful, isn't it, this? You can hear the cogs whirring in her head, can't you? My God, talk about painful.
Exact period of care that they provide, and sometimes being paid a rate for that which is intended to cover the travel time and waiting time. But then actually the travel time turned out to be longer, or the wait was longer. Well, did it really? So I think there's a problem with that employment, the way that works is actually... So I don't have an answer here and now for how do you fix that, because that's the moment between relationship between provider and employee. What I think I have been doing, though, is sending a very clear message that clearly everyone should be paid at least the national living wage. That is only legal. And B, making sure that the quantum of funding is going in there so that the rate should indeed cover the cost of care, including, crucially, the cost of paying workforce properly.
Couldn't you just require employers to pay people for travel time?
I don't think it's as simple as that.
Seems quite simple to me. See, the thing is, when I worked for council for 30 years, I probably said it a few times. Times when I would drive, I would get paid from the start of my shift, where it's go down to my vehicle, check oil and water, make sure it's roadworthy, right up to when my shift finished. And the only time I didn't get paid for was for my half-hour dinner break. So I could be wrong, I could be missing something, but clearly, Paul Blomfield seems to be doing it as well. He seems to be missing it, the point as well.
There's probably a bigger discussion.
People should. I say there's and there's a complicated model, and of course people. I want to be clear. People should of course be paid for all hours that they are working. I think there's no question about that, and people should always be paid over the national living wage. Absolutely no question about that. To people, yes,
I guess it would seem to most people quite simple that you start a day, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you finish it at 6 o'clock in the evening, and you have chunks of time that you work. You spend a significant amount of time, if you're a domiciliary care worker with 15-minute visits, travelling between those visits. I think everybody would accept that that is effectively part of your working day. Why can't people just be required to be paid for it?
I think so.
Why is it complicated?
So it is. Would you like me to write to you on that? Because I started exploring this recently, and it did turn out to be more complicated than I started out with. Coming from exactly the way you said it, saying, isn't it as simple as that? Don't you just pay somebody for the shift? That's not always the model that is in place, so it is more complicated. I'm very happy separately to follow up with you more about how it works.
I'd love to press.
Yeah, I would love to, and I have to say, when I heard this, I was absolutely flabbergasted. These fantastic care workers' wages are apparently, in the previous video, told they are the lowest in any industry, and to add insult to injury, they don't even get paid for their travel time. Wow, shocking. why would you want to do it? But watching Helen Whateley there, it's just painful, wasn't it? You know, just trying to deny the truth. And when she talks about saying that she thought the same way Paul Blomfield does, I bet it won't for too long. You know, especially when they realise that, it's going to eat into shareholders' wages and, well, not wages, profits, should I say, get there in the end. And I find the way they treat these brilliant adult care workers, it's nothing short of disgusting, if you ask me. They deserve far more respect than what they're getting, because as far as I'm concerned, they do something that I know I couldn't be able to do and probably wouldn't want to do either, because it sounds like a lot of hard work and a thankless task. Now, I could be wrong. Now, on this bit, I could be barking up the wrong tree, and I'm sure all my intelligent subscribers will put me right if I am. But all I'm going to say is absolutely disgusting, these Tories, aren't they? But anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Until the next time, I shall bid you farewell and take care, my friends.